Hello, and welcome to Fearful Wickedness. We hope you enjoy tonight's tale.
A normal night in a normal neighborhood. Lily was alone at home. Her parents had left for a dinner date, so she decided to make some popcorn and watch a movie. After dozing off during the movie, Lily decided to call it a night. Hopping in the shower before bed, the steam swirling around her as she stood under the warm water, letting it wash away the weight of the day. For a moment, there was only the sound of water rushing down. But then, was that a noise? She shut off the water, listening intently. The house was old, and old houses made strange noises, didn't they? It was probably nothing, just the house settling. Lily turned the water back on. She didn't waste any time, ready to be finished and in bed. But just as she had dried off and was putting her oversized nightshirt on, another noise, louder this time, followed by what sounded like the kitchen door being forced open. Her pulse quickened, a cold shiver creeping up her spine. Was someone in the house? Her thoughts raced, trying to rationalize what she was hearing. Lily was frozen with fear. She couldn't think what to do. Panic was setting in. She rushed to the bathroom door, slowly opening it to listen. Her heart hammered in her chest, the thumping from downstairs becoming clearer now, the unmistakable sound of someone moving through the kitchen. She felt her stomach drop. The intruder was in the house. The realization hit her with full force. She needed to escape. She grabbed her phone off the bathroom counter, her fingers shaking as she tried to dial 911. But before she could press send, she heard footsteps coming up the stairs. Her blood ran cold. There was nowhere to hide. Her only option was to run. She dashed down the hall to her bedroom, locking the door behind her. The footsteps grew louder. The sound of boots thudding against the floor echoed through the house. They were coming closer. Lily pressed send, calling 911 while trying to think of the best hiding spot. The operator answered, 911? What is your emergency? At the same time, Lily's doorknob started to shake. Help! Help! Someone's inside my house. Just then, Lily's bedroom door burst open. Wood from the door frame splintering. Lily screamed. The 911 operator began to ask, "What is your address?" But before she could finish, the intruder took Lily's phone and threw it against the wall, shattering it into pieces. A large hooded man stood looking at Lily.
Did you think you could escape, little girl?
His voice was smooth, too calm for her comfort. Lily darted toward the door, but the moment she tried to run, he reached out, grabbing her wrist with terrifying force. She gasped, trying to pull away, but the grip was unrelenting. He yanked her back, slamming her into the wall with brutal force. She cried out, the air knocked out of her lungs. "Let me go," her voice hoarse with panic. The man's grip tightened.
Shut up, little girl. You're not going anywhere.
With a swift motion, he shoved her toward the center of the room. Her head spun with the impact as she struggled to stay upright. Lily's world plunged into chaos as he grabbed her, pulling her arms behind her and forcing her to the floor. She kicked and screamed, but the man was stronger. She fought with every ounce of strength she had, but it was no use. He pulled out a roll of duct tape, tying her wrists tightly, binding her hands behind her back. He then dragged her roughly to her feet, and despite her resistance, he forced her down the stairs toward the living room. Her mind was in a blur, terror coursing through her veins. She realized she was completely at his mercy. "What do you want?" she demanded, her voice shaky but defiant. "Why are you doing this?" He chuckled darkly.
What I want isn't important right now. What matters is that you're mine for the time being.
Lily felt sick as he shoved her into a chair, the tape rough on her skin as he bound her to it. The man's cold eyes studied her for a long moment. She could see the twisted amusement in those eyes. He brushed her bare legs with the tips of his fingers as he leaned over her, taking in a large breath.
Your hair smells so sweet. I wonder if you taste as good as you smell.
Raising his left hand in a fist and waving his pinky finger at her.
You stay here while I see if I can find anything better than the prize I already have.
Her breath came in shallow gasps as the terror began to consume her. She had no way to fight back. She had no escape. He began to move through the house. Lily's eyes darted around the room, her heart pounding. She had to get out, but she was helpless. He had her tied up, and there was nothing she could do. The sound of something heavy crashing from upstairs. Then, the intruder returned to the living room, his eyes cold, angry. His movements deliberate as he glanced over her. He was in control, and he wanted to make sure Lily knew it. Lily's voice was barely above a whisper as she spoke, her desperation now obvious. Please let me go. I won't tell anyone. Just don't hurt me. But the man only smirked.
You're not in control here, sweetheart.
The intruder left her once more as he went into the garage, maybe to try and steal her mother's car, Lily thought. Lily's eyes darted to the kitchen, looking at the broken door the intruder used to get in. If only she could free herself and make a run for it. But there was nothing left for her to do. Her escape was impossible. She sat there, the fear clutching her throat, knowing that this nightmare was only just beginning. Lily was alone and completely at his mercy. After what seemed like an eternity, Lily realized she hadn't heard any noises for a while. Was he gone? Had he left? Or was he just toying with her, letting her think there was hope where there is none? About that time, she heard what sounded like a key in the front door. She screamed, thinking it was the intruder coming back to collect her. As the door opened, Lily saw her parents. Her mom shouted, "What happened?" The intruder was gone and had been for some time. As the night went on, the police and EMTs arrived. Lily gave her statement 1,000 times, recounting the hopelessness and terror she had felt during the invasion. Although there was an intense investigation by the police, no suspects were ever found. Lily went on through the years, graduating college, starting her career, and falling in love with her fiancé. All while that terrifying night grew to be a distant memory. Lily had been feeling her best when one day, while waiting to cross the street, a cold shiver came over her as something caught her eye. She saw a man, just across the way, looking straight at her. When their eyes met, he raised his left hand and gave her a small wave with his pinky finger.